So just one or two more things that I want to point out with regard to the enclave culture. One is that the enclave or enclave is created so that people inside will be able to hold on to their members. By and large, the very idea of the creation of the enclave is to make certain that members don't disappear, that they don't get lost, that they don't cross over the boundary into the world of the contemporary domains, and so that they remain behind the wall. The wall, of course, may be physical, or it may be simply moral. And the tradition which governs, or the interpreted and reinterpreted tradition which governs life within the enclave, is, of course, presented as shrunken, as under siege, even persecuted. The faithful, the believing, the last remnant, those on the inside, the true believers who remain within the enclave, they are the ones who are the true defenders of the faith. Of course, they are zealous in their defense of the faith, at the same time that they're anxious about the fate of their traditions. Anxious because they are absolutely convinced that the world on the outside is running the risk of undermining those traditions. So another thing to keep in mind is not only this anxiety and this effort to hold on to members that makes up the part of the enclave, but also a realization that the enclave demands a kind of Manichaean consideration of the outside. That is, the people inside want to keep from being defiled, from being eroded by the darkness, the cultural, the religious darkness that they argue is outside. The Manichaean vocabulary is, we are the good guys, we are the true believers, outside are the apostates, those who have left the faith. Outside are the unbelievers. Okay, so we've already said everything that we need to say about the enclave culture, keeping in mind that the modernity suffused outside, which assumes human autonomy as the ultimate end, as the ultimate governing principle of life, is contrasted with the consideration of those on the inside that says that we are not autonomous, we are not the me generation, we are not free thinkers, we are not only on our own, but we answer to an authority, a higher authority. We are governed not only by our traditions, but also by those who interpret our traditions. We are not lukewarm in our faith, but rather we are completely devoted to our faith. And therefore we have to assume that those on the outside are not only lukewarm, they're worse than lukewarm, they are cold to faith, they are unbelievers. The creation of the enclave then is a defensive action to protect people from the kafir, from the infidel, from those who they view as dangerous. Outreach is possible, but one has to be careful that we don't bring in those who are dangerous, those who could undermine faith. So before we bring them in, we have to really give some time, some sense that, well, they are truly insiders. Often the people who convert are given a kind of interim, temporary status, and so that it is only their children or later on in life, when they have taken on the way of life of the enclave, the way of life of the believer, that for a long time and shown their commitments, that they are allowed to be inside as a full-fledged member. Of course, all of this is part of a battle royal for the faith.